All right, guys, what's going on? I just ran home. I was at my folks' place having a visit. I kind of gave up on Marvel Comic Con for a little bit. Um, because I don't know, they weren't dropping much. Kevin Feige said he was just gonna focus on 3 movies, so I just kind of ran home after this freaking dropped because I'm kind of losing my mind right now. And we got to talk about this. We have to talk about this. So Marvel had their Hall H panel at Comic Con. It literally, I think it just ended. It might have just ended. I'm not entirely sure. I didn't bother looking because the biggest news ever pretty much just dropped, at least from Marvel. I think this is up there with some of the biggest stuff they've ever dropped. I'm literally creating my thumbnail right now in front of you guys and everything, because this is freaking huge. And let's not even bury the lead. If you're a member, if you're watching and you're on members talk live, if you're on that tier, the link to join is in the community post, because we're we're ready to talk about this freaking news. As I literally right in front of your guys' eyes change the thumbnail. Change the thumbnail. You know what? I don't think I can change the thumbnail while I'm live. You know what? Screw it. I don't care because I just want to talk about it. I just want to bring this up right now. Share it to the screen. Where is it? Where is it? Here it freaking is, guys. Robert Downey Jr. is our freaking Doctor Doom for Avengers 5 and I assume 6. They also dropped that Anthony and Joe Russo. You can see them on stage right here. Anthony and Joe Russo are standing with Robert Downey Jr. You got some Doom masks behind them. They're directing the Avengers. Doomsday is the title. They're directing, I believe it said that they were directing Avengers Secret Wars. I literally raced home to do, we got video footage here. Hall H right now. I can't even imagine what that would be like. I literally can't hear anything. I literally can't hear anything because I don't have the headphones plugged in. Oh yeah, they're going nuts. They are going nuts. That's insane. That is insane. That is insane. Look, if you're going to do multiverse, if you're going to double down on multiverse, when we've been saying, you know, multiverse isn't really working, the rules aren't exactly established, we don't know what multiverse is doing. Stop multiverse, Marvel. Stop multiverse, Marvel. If you want to continue with multiverse, this is the way that you continue with multiverse. I don't think that you could get any bigger than this news right here. We've got people also freaking out in the chat. I'm sure you guys are processing this information same as me. We've got Carlos Cabral, what's going on, dude? He says, I'm like, what? Yeah, dude, that's been my reaction for the past like 10 minutes. We got Toxic Gamer saying, wait, what? Yeah, dude, they confirmed it. It's happening. Robert Downey Jr. is going to be freaking Dr. Doom. It ended. I'm like, what? Yeah, let's be honest. The panel up until that point wasn't like mind-blowingly great, if you ask me. We can go through a little bit of the panel before we get into this Doctor Doom discussion and talk and all this kind of stuff. Looking at what Marvel dropped. Discussing film is what I'm getting this information from. They were in the panel. They post up to dates to the minute almost. So they're a great source to follow if you're looking for, you know, any movie news really. So they started off, or at least as far back as I can go. Harrison Ford was on stage at Hall H doing Red Hulk mannerism. So they did a lot of stuff with Captain America Brave New World to start with. Harrison Ford, I'm proud to become a member of the Marvel Universe. I've been watching fantastic actors having a good time, and I wanted a piece of that. Yeah, we got some stuff on Thunderbolts. Looks like David Harbour showed up in his suit. That's hilarious, guys. I sent an email and we were all going to dress up because it was Comic-Con. Harrison Ford acting like Red Hulk on stage. That's pretty fun. That's pretty fun. But of course, you know, Thunderbolts is cool. Seeing the cast of Fantastic Four come together, like was mentioned, is cool. There's our cast. I think they begin shooting on Tuesday, it says. So that's really exciting. We got a little bit of information on Fantastic Four. It's going to be described as the retro future of the 60s. We kind of already assumed that. They've got the Fantastic Car reveal. That's pretty cool. They're going to get another Fantastic Car. We haven't seen the Fantastic Car since Rise of the Silver Surfer, I want to say. So it's been a minute since we've seen that. It did confirm that the Fantastic Four title is going to be First Steps, which, not going to lie, not super excited about that title. I'm not super amped about that title. We got the cast on stage. Early footage of Galactus was shown, apparently. So Galactus is going to be in Fantastic Four. I believe they confirmed the Fantastic Four is going to appear in both Avengers films. So that's all cool and this is kind of where I started to stop checking in frequently. I went over to my folks' place at this point, and I picked a bad time to jump out, because next was revealed that yes, the Russo brothers, guys, they're back. The Russo brothers are indeed directing Avengers 5 and Avengers Secret Wars. And they did, in fact, reveal that Avengers 5 is going to be, where is it here? Avengers Doomsday. Avengers Doomsday. So it's safe to assume totally over Kang. We're done with Kang. It's not happening anymore. And you know what? If you're going to swap out anyone for Kang, Doctor Doom was a good one to do. So they've confirmed Secret Wars is going to be May 2027. And then this is where the internet continues to go freaking nuts, because they've confirmed, guys, Robert Downey Jr. will star as Doctor Doom in Avengers Doomsday. Robert Downey Jr. was on stage. New mask, same task. Interesting. New mask, same task. There's definitely going to be some speculation about all that. The reveal is here. It is. I wish I was in Hall H, man. I couldn't even imagine all that energy. I doubt that energy on this video even captures 10% of what those people were truly feeling during this moment. I'm beside myself at this news. He's coming back. Robert Downey Jr. is coming back. There we go. Avengers Doomsday is May 2026, and then May 2027 is Secret Wars. So they want to do that year thing like they did with Infinity War and Endgame. They're tackling that again. Pretty ambitious to do, if you ask me, but they are going for it. I can't believe this. So let's talk a little bit about this. Let's talk a little bit about what this possibly means, because this is quite a, I would say, unprecedented move in Marvel in particular. Iron Man, the hero that started it all, Robert Downey Jr. gave up the suit. He retired at the end of Endgame, and so we thought, for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Went on to do Oppenheimer and won an Academy Award. And I thought that would be the end of it. I thought that now that he has an Academy Award, now that he's done this big drama film with Christopher Nolan and won his Academy Award, I thought that Robert Downey Jr. would want to go for more roles like that. And I mean, this was rumored a couple days ago that Robert Downey Jr. was being eyed at to be Doctor Doom, and I thought that they were nuts. I thought that they were crazy for even thinking up that rumor. I thought there was no possible way that Robert Downey Jr. was going to come back to the MCU, not to reprise his beloved role as Iron Man, but to do Doctor Doom. Plus, we have to acknowledge that this is going to drastically change up the comic origins of Doctor Doom, or at least the Doctor Doom we've known in many comic iterations. Is this a little bit of a gimmick? I think the answer to that is a yes. I do think this is a little bit of a gimmick, because they've been talking about it for a while. Robert Downey Jr. might come back. We might bring back Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. And I was always saying, I don't want to see that. Let Iron Man rest. Going backwards is not the way to go forwards. You're just trying to grab cheap nostalgia by bringing back Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man when he had such a perfect ending. So I was against Iron Man. I was against Robert Downey Jr. coming back to the MCU in that way. This, however, this is fascinating to me, because yes, this brings back Robert Downey Jr. This brings back not just a familiar face to the MCU. This brings back the most beloved face to the MCU. But you're not doing the easy route of just an Iron Man variant or being another Iron Man. You are switching the roles, and he is the big bad of the Avengers films. There is so much that they have to play with this idea if they execute it to its fullest. Because, when you look at Tony Stark in Iron Man, if you take out his journey in the cave, what does he become? Because he's not the greatest guy to begin with when we first meet him in Iron Man. Obviously, this is going to be alternate universe Iron or Tony Stark. If he even is still Tony Stark, is he going to be Tony Stark? Is it going to be Tony Stark as Doctor Doom, or will he be Victor Von Doom just with Robert Downey Jr. playing the role? Is that going to confuse audiences? Is my question. Is that going to be too much? Is that going to turn the audience as opposed to bring them back like Marvel may be trying to do with Robert Downey Jr.? Are people going to accept their beloved hero Iron Man? Are they going to accept this guy as the villain against this new team of Avengers? And maybe Thor's still in there. Maybe you have some OGs. Hawkeye might show up. Maybe you get some really heartbreaking reactions to the reveal that Tony Stark is the big bad that these Avengers are fighting. There is also another layer that's kind of interesting to this. If you're going to have the beloved hero, kind of the original, the classic Marvel, so to speak, going up against the new Marvel, there's something kind of meta there, in my opinion, if you ask me. Let's see what the chat's saying, because I'm sure you guys are going nuts. Carlos Cabral is saying Avengers Doomsday, which I'm not going to lie to you guys. Avengers Doomsday gets me more excited than Avengers Kang Dynasty. I never really cared that much for the title Kang Dynasty, but Avengers Doomsday, at like just that added level of threat on top of the title, that is a good way to go. I think that's a much better title in my opinion. Toxic Gamer 331 says, how are they going to explain it? It's going to be multiversal bullcrap. It's going to be multiversal bullcrap, but you can already say that they've kind of already explained it. You could say, first of all, this will be a variant. That's how they'll say it. This is a variant. If it is indeed Tony Stark as Doctor Doom, which if you're asking me, I don't know if they've confirmed this at Comic-Con yet. I haven't read that far. I would imagine that they're going to go that route. I'll imagine they'll do a Tony Stark Doctor Doom. I don't think Robert Downey Jr. is going to come back and play Victor Von Doom. I feel like that would be too much for the casual audience to accept. But if you play into this whole variant thing that you're doing, if you're going to double down on the variants, which I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not a huge fan of variants. I'm not a huge fan of the multi. I think it worked perfectly in No Way Home. No spoilers, I because the movie just came out, but I think it worked pretty well in Deadpool and Wolverine. But I do not think variance has been the MCU's strong suit. But if you're going to turn that conversation around, doing this by bringing back Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom is a really fascinating way to do it. And if they can do it right, it could actually be a real compelling tragedy for this otherworldly Tony Stark that I would be really fascinated to see how they would play with that. Carlos Cabral says, who is going to be Iron Man now? I don't think you bring an Iron Man into it. I don't think you bring an Iron Man into it. I think having Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom going up against a new Iron Man, actually, you know what? I'm processing the information in real time. That could be interesting depending on how you do it. But the way that they would do it, I would imagine, would just be some generic variant Iron Man. If you were able to build up a new Iron Man, get a variant Iron Man, get a multiverse Iron Man, whatever you do with Iron Man, build him up to the point where the audience accepts this as the new Iron Man, and then you get it going up against the big bad past Iron Man, that could be really fascinating. But you also have to remember, Avengers Doom's Dynasty, they just announced, is coming out in 2026. So are they going to be able to get a new Iron Man, develop him enough so that audiences accept him as new Iron Man over Robert Downey Jr. in 2 years? They can't even get an Iron Man in 2 years. That's very ambitious. I don't think there's going to be another Iron Man. And if they do, I don't think it's going to be one that stays around for very long. Toxic Gamer says, I haven't heard a pop like that at Comic-Con in a while. Look, Marvel needed this. Marvel needed this. I mean, we thought Deadpool and Wolverine was going to be the biggest thing that Marvel released this weekend. And it was really big. In my opinion, this is bigger. This is bigger. And when you're looking at Marvel and people are talking about their downward spiral, it's not exactly in the best spot, and they haven't exactly built up anticipation for these Avengers films, which you can look at this announcement too as kind of a little bit of a cheat to get that anticipation back, because 20 minutes ago, I guess maybe more, an hour ago, let's go an hour ago, the anticipation for these next Avengers films wasn't anywhere near the peak of the previous anticipation for the past Avengers films. They needed something. They needed to get the ball rolling on the excitement for the next Avengers films. And this is the route they decided to take. And it is working because I've seen Twitter. I see these other YouTube videos going live just like me. People are losing their minds. And I am right there with them. Toxic Gamer says, watching Iron Claw while watching you at the same time. Well, I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. He says, you just hit 1,000 subscribers as well. So congratulations, Toxic Gamer. Toxic Gamer says, Galactus was teased in Deadpool and Wolverine world premiere drone show. I did see that, but I honestly didn't think much of it. So that's a good point. Red Comics says, my favorite actor is now both my favorite hero and my favorite villain. What is going on? Yeah, Doctor Doom's a huge deal. People have been wanting and anticipating a Doctor Doom for a very long time. Now, look, once the fire dies down, once this excitement, this wave of just new information and excitement kind of washes over us and we're able to sit with our thoughts a little bit longer, is Robert Downey Jr. someone we've already had as a beloved hero? Is that Doctor Doom? Would that have been my first choice? No, that would not have been my first choice. I always liked the idea of like a Henry Cavill as Doctor Doom, or yeah, like someone around that caliber, and doing Victor Von Doom would have been my option of going down that route, because Victor Von Doom has not been done right on screen yet. He wasn't done right in Tim Story's Fantastic Fours. He wasn't done right. He definitely wasn't done right in Josh Trank's Fant Four Stick. So we haven't had a great Victor Von Doom in live action on screen yet. And it looks like we're going to have to wait a little bit longer if this is indeed going to be a Tony Stark variant that is now Doctor Doom. Carlos Cabral says the multiverse must end with Secret Wars. I think that's what they're building up to. I think they are building up to an end with Secret Wars being the end of this whole multiverse shtick. Let's be honest, it's a shtick. Sometimes the shtick has worked. I really enjoyed No Way Home. I loved seeing Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield come back in No Way Home. That shtick worked. I had fun with Deadpool and Wolverine. That shtick worked. But the multiverse has been a bit of a shtick, and I do hope that it ends with Secret Wars. Red Comics says the Russos, my favorite directors, are back. I'll take it. That, honestly, dude, if you had just announced that the Russo brothers were coming back for Avengers films, this would still be huge news. This would still get the blood pumping. I would still be super excited. But now you've added this Robert Downey Jr. bombshell on top of this. It's atomic. I'm out of my mind right now with what is Marvel doing. Toxic Gamer says they did send off Kang where it could be that he did die. They did send off Kane where it could be that he did die. Why am I not? I'm sorry, man. I'm not quite processing what you're saying. Dawson Young, what's going on, dude? He says, hey, man. Red Comics says Doctor Doom is a character who always has his face hidden too. Yeah, that's another thing I think they're probably not going to do, because if you get Robert Downey Jr. back, if your whole let's be honest, the whole foundation of this idea is Robert Downey Jr. is so beloved. He was so beloved in the MCU. People miss him in the MCU. How do we get him back in the MCU and do something fun with it? Let's make him the villain. That is the foundation of this idea. I guarantee it. You don't hide his face if that is the foundation of the idea. You don't get Robert Downey Jr. to bring the audience in only to put him behind the mask for the entire time. Not going to happen. I think Doctor Doom is not going to be wearing a mask very often, if you ask me. Carlos Cabral says this is a big week for Marvel for sure. This is Marvel's biggest week in a very long time. I would say this is Marvel's biggest week since Endgame. I think Endgame was the last time that Marvel had this big of a week. No Way Home was pretty big too. It definitely was, but that's Sony adjacent as well. It's not fully Marvel. And Deadpool and Wolverine, it has been big, but adding this on top of it doubles the power. It is definitely their biggest weekend, I should say, since Endgame. Carlos Cabral says the mutants are in the MCU now. Yeah, the mutant era is supposed to begin. I don't know what they're going to do with mutants in 2 years before this Avengers films. Maybe the Avengers films bring in the mutants. I don't know, but they're tackling a lot of stuff all at once, and it's pretty crazy. Toxic51 says, do you think they're introducing Doctor Doom at the end of Fantastic Four? See, honestly, I would have probably said no a little while ago. now that they've announced Robert Downey Jr. on stage tonight, now that they've announced that he's the big bad for the next Avengers films, and the next Avengers film is set to come out in 2 years, absolutely. Absolutely. I think if he's not in the official movie, post-credit scene. Because that's something too, is like, are you just going to introduce Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom in the Avengers movie, or are you going to build up to him like you kind of built up to Thanos as we got closer to Infinity War? And honestly, you could go either way. I think you could build this up starting with Fantastic Four, but like I said, you've only got 2 years to do it. You've only got so many movies that come out within the span of 2 years to do before Avengers Doomsday. I think they wait. I think he might be introduced in a post-credit scene of Fantastic Four, and then we don't see him again until Avengers Doomsday, and that's where he is officially. And I think Avengers Doomsday, much like how Infinity War was a Thanos story, I think this is going to be a Doctor Doom story. I think Avengers Doomsday is going to focus the most on telling the story of Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom. And I'm beside myself. This feels surreal that this is the news we're talking about today. Red Comic says, Zach, I'll go over this Doctor Doom situation in a video. Keep an eye out. I will definitely keep an eye out, my friend, for that. Toxic Gamer says, Fant 4 stick equals trash. Yeah, it wasn't great. It wasn't great. Toxic Gamer says, I meant Kang. They sent off Kang where he could be dead in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Yeah, I think they dealt with the whole Kang situation at the end of Loki season 2, to be honest with you. Toxic Gamer says this Doctor Doom could be in that universe with Fantastic Four. I feel like if you only have 2 years to kind of establish or at least tease a Doctor Doom, and Doctor Doom is tied to Fantastic Four, or at least, you know, in most people's minds, he's tied to Fantastic Four. I think you do it. I think you do it in a post-credit scene. You do it in the movie itself. I don't know. Are we going to find out that Robert Downey Jr. was added to the cast of Fantastic Four? I don't know, but it's crazy. It's just craziness. Red Comic says perhaps this Doom is from the same universe as the Fantastic Four. Perhaps Doom will destroy the Council of Kangs. I don't know. I honestly think that Loki season 2 wrapped up the Kang story well enough. I don't think you need to do anything more with Kang or address Kang or do anything like that with Kang. I think you just kind of let Kang rest. I think a lot of the audience, honestly, isn't even thinking about Kang. I don't think any of the audience really cares about Kang at this point. And I think everybody is going to forget about Kang once Robert Downey Jr. comes out as Doctor Doom in a film. Frankie says, Zach, I'm just getting so tired of having to go to my second channel just to chat with you. Oh, I'm sorry, man. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. Toxic Gamer says I still haven't finished Loki season 2. I recommend finishing Loki season 2. I really enjoyed Loki season 2. Before we kind of wrap this up, because there's really, I mean, all the speculation is just beginning, but I could not wait until Wednesday, Zach Mel Talks Live, to talk about this news. I had to talk about it. Let's see if there's anything else that has dropped. The next Avengers films are revealed. Let's bring this on screen and see if there's anything further to discuss before we jump off here real quick. The next Avengers films are revealed. Doomsday and Secret Wars. Robert Downey Jr. will play Doctor Doom. The Russo brothers will direct. Fantastic Four will appear in both films. They've got to set that up in the Fantastic Four movie, which puts a lot of pressure and a lot of weight on the Fantastic Four movie. Robert Downey Jr. with his Legion of Doom posted just 8 minutes ago. Look at that. That is... that's iconic. That is an iconic Comic-Con picture right there. I am flabbergasted. Absolutely flabbergasted, guys, that this is happening. All right, guys. Question goes to you. Doctor Doom is Robert Downey Jr. I'm still processing the information. I cannot believe it's real. Thank you guys so much for jumping on for these quick minutes to talk about this monumental news in the MCU. Not to mention that the Russo brothers are also back to direct the Avengers films. My Avengers hype just went from here to here for the next Avengers films. I cannot wait to see what Marvel is cooking up. I think the best days of Marvel are still ahead of them. Cannot wait to see what they do. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you guys think of this news. I'll talk to you guys again real soon. Take care.